Last week, UK Chancellor Jeremy Chunt.
So ladies, what do you think of Jeremy Hunt?
Can I say he's a prick in this?
Aye.
Aye, is that okay? I'll say he's a wanker.
Announces plans to cut public spending by £30 billion from the next election in 2025. This follows former Prime Minister and the Prime Minister for 40 Days prize winner Liz Truss's now infamous mini-budget, which blew a hole in the public finances to the tune of, you guessed it, £30 billion. Truss, England's Lady Trump, or Trumpette if you will, cracked open a bottle of the old trickle-down economics lotion with £45 billion worth of unfunded tax cuts for the UK's 629,000 highest earners, rubbed it on the collective national arse, and it caused an allergic reaction so violent we shat the collective national bed, with the pound falling to its lowest rate via the dollar in nearly 40 years, and the cost of government borrowing hitting its highest level in a single day for at least a decade. Chunt's budget comes at a time of the biggest drop in living standards on record, as we're led into the abyss by billionaire banker and former Mr Bean impersonator Rishi Sunak, a humanoid robot running on an operating system mainly based on the Trading 212 app, overseeing an economic system built for our feudal overlords in the big bank casinos of the City of London. One of Mr Bean's closest advisors, Teddy if you will, is Dougie Smith, another libertarian small state ideologue cut from the same cloth as Truss. Trusser? I wouldn't truss her as far as I could throw her. It was found last year, a new government funding formula for education in England and Wales cut funding in the most deprived parts of the country by 1.2%, but increased it by 2.9% in the least deprived. Further cuts to pupil premium spending also cut 90 million from the most disadvantaged children. Here's Mr Bean discussing his work on Project Punch the Poor.
From all of you, I managed to start changing the funding formulas to make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. Because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas, then that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that.
Ordinary people are suffering as the cost of living crisis compounds previous austerity measures, which include a 37% cut in local government funding since 2010, the loss of nearly 800 libraries, nearly a third of all hospital beds, the normalisation of food banks, the gutting of regional support systems such as Sure Start centres and youth clubs, with local authorities now selling off 4,000 public buildings each year in order to continue to fund basic local services. Families are bearing the brunt. The UK has the third highest childcare costs in the developed world, and 4,000 childcare providers in England closed between March 2021 and March this year. Emily de Bruyn, the founder of a baby bank service in Hartlepool, which since 2019, with the help of donations, has provided free support to new families, with everything from food and clothing to prams and nappies. Her service has gone from supporting 60 families at the beginning of the year to 160 a week. And she's doing this entirely voluntarily with absolutely no help from the government. This is Emily's take on the Tories levelling up hoax, which was introduced as an initiative to improve the quality of life in deprived areas of the country.
I'm still waiting for the evidence of the levelling up. I'm still waiting for the investment in infrastructure, the investment in childcare. Because, we're asking these parents to work, but we're pricing childcare well out of their reach. You can't work if you can't afford for your child to go somewhere safe.
Even the Victorian ghost that possesses Jacob Rees-Mogg and wants to reinstate the poorhouse thinks the British public have already shouldered enough of the burden of Tory economic mismanagement. There's also a mountain of evidence that increased state spending in areas most in need produces economic results. A 10-year-long study in Sweden showed an increase in academic achievement and lifetime earning associated with free school meals. And in the UK, a cost-benefit analysis from accountancy firm PwC showed that increasing access to free school meals to an additional 800,000 families produced a £1.38 return on every pound spent, and a potential economic windfall of 16.2 billion. Remember when they told us government debt was bankrupting future generations? Further cuts to public services is bankrupting our kids and grandkids, the human capital of this country. Maybe this clip of Prime Minister Bean from his youth will help us predict who will benefit most from his government.
I have friends who are aristocrats, I have friends who are upper class, I have friends who are, working class, but I'm not working class.
The damage that I've done to this country, not just Scotland, this country. Margaret Thatcher, Milk Thatcher. They're all clones of her. They're just going with the Thatcher idiom. An absolute disgrace. They're trying to return the country and the working people back to poverty, to Victorian values.